Now, let us discuss the access and inclusivity, specifically the policies on free education in Philippines and in Malaysia's education system. But first, let us discuss in the Philippines education system. So based from our presentation, they have two policies. First is the Republic Act number 6655, the Free Public Secondary Education Act of 1988, and RA 10931, the Universal Access to Quality Tertiary Education. Now, in the Malaysia's education system, they have the Education Act 1996 that gives an emphasis to the importance of education for all citizens. Now, the free education period is the government provides free education for 6 years in the primary level and 5 years in the secondary level. So, in terms of the compulsory education, primary education is compulsory for all children, while secondary education is expected to be compulsory. While there are no tuition fees because of the free education, parents are still responsible for other costs like uniforms, transportation, and meals. Now, let us now elaborate and gives an emphasis on the two policies in terms of free education in the Philippines. So, the RA number 6655, the Free Public Secondary Education Act of 1988 mandates the provision of free secondary education in all public schools across the Philippines. It ensures that all Filipino students have access to high school education without paying for tuition fees, removing financial barrier and promoting equal educational opportunities for all. So secondly, the Universal Access to Quality Tertiary Education Act, or the RA 10931. So this is a law that institutionalizes free tuition and exemption from other fees in state universities and colleges and in local colleges or local universities and colleges in the Philippines. And this bill was sponsored and authored by the former Senator Bam Aquino. Now, let us discuss the enrollment rate and dropout rate in the Philippines and in Malaysia's education system. Firstly, in the Philippines, based from our presentation, as you can see, we provide you here the enrollment rate and the dropout rate, the number of enrollees in the Philippines, and the percentage, the rate of dropout rates in the Philippines. Now, the total enrollees based from the DepEd in state universities and colleges and local universities and colleges are 23,854. And in the alternative learning system, we have 203,501. And in the enrollment by level, we have here the elementary level, from public schools to private schools. We also have here the total enrollees in junior high school, in public school, and in private school, and in state universities and colleges, local universities and colleges, and of course, in senior high school, we also have the total enrollees here, and in public school, and private school, and of course, in state universities, and in local universities and colleges. So now, in the dropout rate in the Philippines, this is from the year 2005 to 2013, the elementary school is 26% of students drop out before the 6th grade and 6% overall dropout rate. So in the high school, we also have here the 23% of students do not graduate and 7% overall dropout rate. And in general, we have here the elementary dropout rate, slight decrease from 6.4% from the year 2006 to 2007 to 6.38% to 2011 to 2012. And there is also an increase from 5.99% from the year 2007 to 2008 and to 6.81% from the year 2012 to 2013. And we also have here the secondary dropout rate, and it remained around 7% since 2017 and it increased from 7.45% from the year 2007 to 2018. So now, why do we have a lot of dropout rate in the Philippines? What are the reasons behind these dropout rates? So, based from the Child Hope Philippine website, these are the reasons, the common reasons why do we have an increase every year in the dropout rate in the Philippines. So many families in the Philippines struggle to meet basic needs and education for their children, to prioritize work over education. There are a lot of students who will prioritize work instead of education because of poverty, right? Because there are lack of food allowance, transportation allowance, and also, secondly, research indicates that children who do not achieve reading proficiency by the 4th grade are 4 times more likely to drop out of school. So, when children became frustrated because they cannot read, they cannot write, of course, they will feel embarrassed because some of their classmates can already read. That is why they will feel that they are isolated. So, they will just drop out or does not continue schooling. Now, the factors such as parental separation, divorce, and an unhealthy home environment can affect a child's ability to focus in the school. And students struggling with mental health such as anxiety and depression are also the causes of dropping out of school. Now, let us see in Malaysia the dropout rate and the enrollment rate in Malaysia. So here are the dropout rate and the enrollment rate in Malaysia. So as you can see, we provide you here a graph and a table that will represent the enrollment rate and the dropout rate in the primary level and in secondary level in Malaysia. So the gross enrollment rate at primary education level in Malaysia from 2020 to 2022 by gender. So the black shade in the graph represents male and the blue shade in the graph represents the female. So from the year 2020 and from the year 2022, of course, the female enrollees and the male enrollees are increasing. As you can see, in 2022, there is almost an equal number of enrollees for the female and for the male. Now, for the dropout rate in Malaysia, we have here from the year 1995 to 2013. And here, as you can see, we have the source. Where do we get this data? The Educational Planning and Research Division, the EPRD, Malaysia Ministry of Education, and World Bank data. So as you can see, the dropout rate here is by percent from primary and secondary. So there is about 1.21% from the year 1995 and 0.1% to the year 2013 in the primary. And in secondary, we have the dropout rate in 1995 from 5.52% to 2013, 1.96%. As you can see, it is decreasing, but still, there are a lot of dropout rate in Malaysia. Now, let us know what is the reason behind this dropout rates in Malaysia. So, in 2022, the same enrollment rate, as you can see, but let us focus on the reason behind the dropping out of the students in Malaysia. And it is because of lack of interest for school, can't afford the need to work to support their finances in terms of food and in education. Now, there is also students who are experiencing parental separation, just like in the Philippines. They also just want to not to go to school. And also, because of poverty, there is also no allowance for transportation going to their school. Next, let us proceed in the access for marginalized groups. In the Philippines, we have here 3, the ALS, the iPad, and lastly, the SPED or the special education. For the ALS, this is an alternative learning system that provides opportunity for out-of-school youth and adult learners to develop basic and functional literacy skills. So what are the target learners of the alternative learning system? Of course, Filipinos ages 18 years old and above who did not begin or at least continue basic education and secondary education. The target learners are also the children who are already in the official school age, who also did not begin or at least continue basic education and secondary education. So in the ALS, they are using learning modules. And did you know that their learning place can be anywhere, in any spaces and in any places? And this is considered as community learning center. Rather, it is called as community learning center. Now, for the iPad program is DepEd's response to the right of indigenous communities and indigenous learners to an education that is responsive to their context. Now, lastly, the SPED or the special education. Based from the DepEd Order number 11 Series 2000, it mandates the establishment of at least one special education center per school division. We also have here the DepEd Order number 6 Series 2006 that requires secondary schools to offer special education programs. Now, let us proceed on the Malaysia's education system on how they give access for marginalized group. So based from our presentation, we have here Malaysia, the 1957 Federal Constitution, amended 2009, that prohibits discrimination in education based on religion, race, descent, and place of birth. So here are the following educational policies. 2001 to 2010, Education Development Plan that ensures equal access to primary education without discrimination. 2013 to 2025 Education Blueprint integrates learners with special needs into inclusive education programs. And here are the laws and regulations for the policies on free education in the Malaysia's education system. They have the 2001 Child Act, Protect Children's Right. The 2008 Persons with Disabilities Act ensures equal access to education for people with disabilities and pregnant teenage girls and teenage mothers under 18 allowed to continue education. And in terms of poverty, they have the free education policies that is adopted since 2012. The school program for abandoned and street children is a collaboration with national government organizations and government agencies. They also have alternative education programs. So now let us discuss these programs, these policies, and regulations in Malaysia's education system. So in 2001 to 2010, it provides equal access to and completion of primary education without discrimination based on gender, ethnicity, and also in their different abilities. So in the 2013 to 2015 Education Blueprint, it considers students with special needs to include learners with visual impairment, hearing impairment, speech difficulties, physical disabilities such as autism, Down syndrome, ADHD, and dyslexia. Now, in the Education Blueprint, we have they further addresses the specific needs of students with special education needs, which includes students with learning disabilities, and this blueprint aims to have 75% students with special needs enrolled in inclusive education program by 2025.